A show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on JTV. This is The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for yet another edition of The Big Story Elections of 2023 edition. I have as guest today Mitsy Ellis-Simpson. Mitsy Ellis-Simpson or Simpson Ellis?
Ellis-Simpson.
Ellis-Simpson. I had it right. It's a pleasure to have you on set, especially in this season.
Thank you so much, Kathy. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
All right. As the territory would have noticed, you would have put yourself up to run for government. You are going currently as an independent candidate. We would have known that you were a member of the Virgin Islands Party and had offered yourself to run with the party. Nonetheless, due to votes within the party, someone else was selected. Now, you are determined to give up service to this territory, hence running. Give us a little background to that scenario of your determination to run.
Yes, I am very much determined to, run for the election. I am currently, will be running as a territorial at-large candidate. And it's a process for me. I want to say it's a process, because, I tried to run in 2019, and in 2019 I was, I tried to run with the party and I didn't get through there, and I went through a nomination process again, and I didn't get through there as well. Now, in assessing everything that really happened, I really have to, be fair to myself and come forth to the people, to really talk to the people and let them know what I'm all about, and just give it my best shot. And as I mentioned, it has been a process, in terms of researching what's happening in the country, seeing what's happening on the ground. If we go back all the way to Hurricane Irma, and just the challenges that are there. And of course, that I also wrote the Secret Code British Virgin Islands, covering various aspects of the country, from health to infrastructure, financial services, just a wide spectrum of things, in understanding what's happening. So, I really think a person like myself, should give the people, a fair chance to select from a pool of candidates as to who they want to lead this country.
Okay, were you given a fair chance at showing yourself while a member of the Virgin Islands Party?
Well, I'm a person that deals with systems and processes. It's a part of my training. And of course, I am an internal auditor. I do have my certification as well from the British Standards Institute. I have to really fairly examine the process that I have gone through. And, without a shadow of a doubt, I would say that I don't think the process was fair to myself.
In what way?
It's been a journey. It's been a journey in terms of, how things are done. I think there were perhaps two times. There was one time that the meeting was postponed. What do you call it? The meeting was postponed. There was another time where I thought I would have been nominated from the floor. I really don't necessarily want this interview to be a situation where I am bashing the party or anything like that. But one of the issues that I've also had was in terms of, whether I was born here, or not. There are persons within the party who has an issue, you understand, as to whether you should stand for election, in that capacity. So, I can go through a whole,
yes, so
process of different things, a general understanding that I had to go through. So what I'm saying is that, I am eligible to run, as a candidate, and I know what my abilities are, and I just really honestly feel that the best thing for me to do is come to the people, and put forward my platforms and take it from there.
Share with us some of your credentials as it relates to you qualifying to run as a candidate, and what are those abilities that go along with those qualifications?
Okay, sure. Okay, just speaking about my qualifications, I do have a master's degree in applied economics, and I also have a master's degree in finance, and I have a bachelor's degree in business management. As I mentioned earlier, I'm also, an internal auditor with certification from the British Standards Institute. I've also worked in the financial services industry, for quite some time. Through my company, I currently work as a business consultant. I've worked as a financial consultant in Hong Kong as well. I did do my master's at the City University of Hong Kong as well. So there's a spectrum of things, but not only that, I want to say that I'm also a community-minded person. I have been doing community service for a very long time. I was actually a president of the Lions Club of Tortola before I actually, joined Rotary when I came back from Hong Kong. So I think my life embodies service. And as I mentioned, I do see the challenges on the ground. I see we do have an issue with cost of living. I see where we need to overhaul our social protection system. I see where our infrastructure is actually lagging behind our main pillars, tourism and financial services. I see where we can do more in terms of economic development. So those are the areas I'm looking at, nation building as well. There's a wide spectrum of things, as I said, that I believe that I can really contribute towards.
Talk to us a little bit about your views and where you see the social aspect of this territory that needs a proper structure.
Okay, when we talk about the social protection system, we're talking about how well are we fighting against the social ills in the country. What kind of measures do we have in terms of poverty when we have natural disasters, job loss? Are we really looking at the cost of living? Currently, there's I would say about 22% of the population that you can actually consider poor. There are people out there who sometimes maybe have to decide whether they're going to eat steak, or they're going to eat chicken, and of course, we can go to the crime and violence. You look at our school system as well. You send your kids to school, and they go to learn, but you maybe have also behavioral issues in the school. How well are we dealing with those things? So how well are we helping, both students, to make sure they are coming out in the society to be the best they can. So when I say social protection system, we have to start with that little margin right there, where we are trying our best to help our people flourish, so to speak, you understand, so we could avoid the ills that can spill over in the society.
Okay, well, since you would have announced your candidacy for the upcoming elections, I am aware that you have been out and about, you have been meeting
Yes.
people in all
Yes.
areas and all statuses of life.
Yes.
From what you have been gathering on the ground, what are some of the primary concerns of those persons that you would have met, and what are some of your ideas that was shared with them to bring
Yes.
some solution to those?
Yes. Well, there's a number of issues that people have on the ground. As I mentioned, cost of living is quite high. There are persons who have issues with, the prices, of products, goods and services. There are persons who want price control on the ground. As I mentioned, our infrastructure is lagging, in terms of, we have done some improvement to our roads, but we can do more. We have issues with sewage, which is major. And of course, we need to ensure that we have a healthy and clean environment. It is in our constitution. It is in our right. It is our rights to have a clean and healthy environment. One of the things that I've been doing for the last 2.5 years, I'm not sure if you know, Kathy, I have formed the Brady Gut Fat Hogs Bay community group, and I have been advocating, for us to have a clean and healthy environment. I don't mind getting dirty and going and doing what I have to do to make sure where the country is healthy and people people are, are healthy, just to say that, So I have been advocating to have proper waste management, and this is one thing that I would like to see us to actually have, put forward a waste management act that is adequate for the country, because we have to start with the legislation aspect of things, right? And see how we can take it from there. We need to reduce, what do you call it, plastic pollution, all these kind of things. We have a situation there with the incinerator as well. So I am very big, it's been a very big pet peeve for me, waste management, and I've been really working hard, In my district, what I've done, I've put, a community bin inside the district, because to me, we have a lot of public bins around the Virgin Islands, and there's no way you can actually control those. So I just want to see us do better. Don't forget, we are our business is tourism, so we have to, and of course not just tourism alone, we have to do it for ourselves.
And your community is with Brady Gut?
Yes, Brady Gut
Yes, area.
Yes,
and
yes.
That issue of incineration has been a sore one, and has been on the table from governments to governments, from governments to governments, and especially the people who are in those areas residing where they have to endure the smoke, the scent that is coming, and it's felt that some of this is contributing to the ill health of the territory. And even as far as the St. John, we hear complaints from the Pockwood Pond incinerator. We have Virgin Gorda is complaining about theirs. And the failure of governments after government to tackle this seems to be one that persons, need to have finally resolved. I know that I think it's Green VI and other institutions would have put forward proposals to governments prior
Yes.
to get this. I don't know if you would have had the opportunity to speak with any of those entities to hear of their plans that they
Yeah.
would have put forward to the governments.
Yes, Green VI has been quite supportive, of my initiative with the Brady Gut, and just in the country in general. You can see that they are really working, and speak about the western side with the incinerator. It is a toxic environment, you understand, and it has to be fixed. But as I mentioned, we have to be serious. The government, any government that gets in, has to be serious. We have to take our waste management act, to another level. We have to get one, let's put it that way, adequate waste management act, and then, we can, strategize, plan how we're going to fix these issues within the country, and if we allow this to get any further out of hand, it's going to become much more difficult, for us to really, handle. So little things like that is what I would like to see, to make a difference
I
in
can
the
hear
country.
someone saying big things
Yes.
like that.
Yes, it's very, and I have already started, that process to demonstrate that, look, you understand, we have to take community pride, but we need help. We need help from the government. They have to put in that legislation to ensure that we know what we're doing. They have to put in those strategies, and they have to lead the way.
Okay,
Yes.
so the argument is that every 4 years the territory goes to the poll and they put a team of people in there to manage the affairs, and like the incineration issue, it continues and it never gets done. How can the people, the voters, hold the government they select to the fire
Right.
to ensure that this is done? And if they are failing to do, not necessarily wait until another 4 years to vote them out, but to get them
Yeah.
subjected to doing what they said they will do.
Right. Kathy, I honestly believe it's really, choosing the right people, choosing the right candidate to move the country forward, and holding people to what they say they're going to do, right? So as a voter, even for myself, I'll be voting too, so I will be assessing candidates within this election, you understand, to see what we can bring to the table, look at the areas that we're lagging in the country and whether these people have the skill set to make things happen, right? And as I mentioned, with my background, I'm about not just about ideas, but implementation, and that's where we're lacking, in the Virgin Islands in terms of implementation and maintenance, So I believe I can, I can do my part. I believe I can, add something as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's take a shift a little bit to another area of focus, and that of youth and their convictions to vote. We're hearing it quite so often that, the young voters are saying, look, I've been looking on even in the period I was not eligible to vote. I've been looking on and I've been seeing a pattern. So I'm not really like that care to cast a vote. But we have a commitment.
Yes.
We have a duty to help persons to understand the value of a vote. How do you present that to them?
Well, and it's just not the youths alone, Cathy. Some morning ago, somebody sent me a message, a senior person, and the person said, like, I believe our people are not growing up politically. You understand? I don't want to be a part of the campaigning. But the person's going to exercise their rights to vote anyway, So there's this situation in the country where, we have to bring back hope. You understand? We have to know how we are structuring ourselves out there as leaders, because the young people are watching us. You understand? And they within themselves are already leaders. They are ready. So we have to really help them, and that is why I speak about I go back to social protection, what kind of measures do we have in place to really help our young people flourish, and the youths, right? And I'm not just speaking about children, for instance, who are going to schools, I'm speaking about young people, single parents, you understand? So there's quite a lot that we need to get done in the country, and we need to be able to bring back hope, where the people can actually, believe in our processes, believe in our systems. We have to fix those things within ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
As this era was in the dawn, there was the popular talk of more women taking the forefront of our cabinet, not just in government, but in our cabinet. We see you putting forward yourself and so many other women. Where do you see women's influence in the political system, the government system, the legislative system of these Virgin Islands, as opposed to men?
Right. Yes. Yeah. I see the women are coming forward. And I believe that, we're mothers, we're wives, we're caring, we get emotional sometimes, and as I mentioned, the challenges that we're having underground, we want to see things happen, we want to see change, So on that basis, I believe we need women at the table because we understand. You understand? Of course, the men understand as well, but we are so passionate, we're so compassionate, you understand, and want to see things happen. So, we will try our best to get the things done that needs to be done. We will try to improve our healthcare system. We will try to improve our education system. I can't imagine, a woman going into politics and sitting down and seeing the ills in the country and not trying their best.
So in your view, there needs to be a more balance. Men see things one way, women see and do things another way, and together, married, they could become a great force for the common good of everyone. That's your view?
Yes, we need to work together. We need to work together to make things happen.
We have the Ordin Council that is still hanging over the heads of this territory. The next government that goes in there will have to, according to the governor and the United Kingdom, carry through with the implementation of the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry, balancing that with the affairs of the territory. How do you see the structured government working towards that goal?
Well, I guess through the unity government, they have committed themselves to, have a reform, in terms of what the COI has brought forward. One of the things we need to do, we need to be able to improve our relationship with the United Kingdom. We really have to work on that, So the conversation needs to be started, immediately right after the election, you understand? And also, I'm not going to sit here and say that there's certain aspect of the country that does not need reform, we do, right? Because again, if you're working for any organization, whether it's government, private, right? You have to be able to review your systems and your processes and just about how you do things periodically, So in terms of how the COI came out, and for instance, a person like myself would perhaps prefer if it was more of an independent audit. But the fact is
that would have
yes,
be my next question. Would you rather, was a COI necessary?
Right, it's okay to audit your systems from time to time. There's no issue with that, you understand? But in terms of how it came about, a matter of fact, I do have my views on that. But it's here. It has happened. We have formed a unity government and we are reforming, right? So yes, we do need to have a conversation with the United Kingdom, as to the way forward, how we are being treated in that partnership, and what we want as a people.
Mm-hmm. What are your views on the way legislations are passed in the House of Assembly, and I'm talking specifically the time that is allotted for legislators to vote on the opposition and in the government seat, and the people to review those before they are even passed in the House of Assembly? We see the conversation that is happening now on the campaign trail as it relates to the compensation for legislators, which is commonly now called the Greedy Bill. That bill is already passed. To say that the people of the territory took much time to look at that and to raise their voices is one left to be determined. But going forward, how do we put ourselves in a position to ensure that things are not passed and then when it's done pass, then we start a kick up?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Definitely. There needs to be a process, and just in terms of that greedy bill, I want to make it clear that, I am not for it, that's something that should have been reviewed properly. You see how we have in a review of the compensation of public officers, I would have liked to see a review as well, to see what legislators, should be making, right? So now we're faced with a situation where there's a backlash with the public. And fairly, I think that's fairly okay. Going forward, I would honestly like to see that bill repealed. I would, you understand, because I think the people need to be able to, and I want to just go back to speaking about cost of living. You go into the government, you understand, and you go in and you pass a bill such as that. But here I am talking about the population where we have minimum wage at $6 per hour. You go into the supermarket, you could hardly find something in there for $6, to have a complete meal, you understand. So, going into the government, yes, you want to take care, you want to have a salary, yes, for me, if I don't get a salary, I don't mind. And I'm being very honest with you, you understand. I am here to help and, solve the best I can, I see where I can, make a difference, So my thing is to go in, help the people, help the environment flourish, you understand? Look at the areas that we are lagging in. And yes, cost of living is high, I don't want us to just go in there and review our salaries, right? What about how we are living? Our standard of living, you understand? So we have to look at the processes when it comes to, legislating.
Okay. All right. With the clock coming down, and at this moment, I want us to get to know Mitsy a little more personally. Tell us about Mitsy, the person outside of her career, your upbringing, what are your values as it relates to family structures. I know you have a beautiful daughter, and she's so gifted.
Yes.
I would have seen that book that she would have written, and she's kind of following her mommy's footsteps. Give us a little background to that side of Mitsy.
Yes, yes. Foremost, I'm a mother. I love my daughter very much. And of course, I try my very, very best with her. And just similar to how I treat her. You understand? That is the way I want to treat all the children of the Virgin Islands and just in the world in general, giving you an opportunity to flourish, you understand, to make you be the best you can be, bringing out your creativity. For instance, like Christmas, I had what we call a Santa's workshop,
Yes.
and I, actually invited, just the communities in general. The kids can come, just be free, be creative. And, it was an idea that was inspired by Rotary as well, you understand, when bringing it to the community, so the kids can make their little crafts and stuff like that, So yes, I'm a community-minded person. It's the way that I have always been, from I know myself. As I mentioned, I did join, excuse me, the Lions Club, from a very early age. Just some more background, Kathy. I like to run. I maybe look like I'm not a fast. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say too athletic, but I love to sprint. Yes, yeah. Every so often you might see me on a little lonely road or something, and I love to just have a good race. I love track and field. When I was much younger, I was also in girls brigade as well. And so I've always just been in the community, just trying to extracurricular activities, to keep myself busy. As my former principal would say, Elmo Stout, can all you can while you can, and that's just, how I have been living my life,
Awesome.
Trying to do my best.
Okay, so now you have the last 30 seconds of this course to directly have a word with your audience.
Yes. Hello, Virgin Islands. Greetings. I am Mitsy Ellis-Simpson, and I will be running as an independent at-large candidate in the next general election. I am very passionate about serving, and of course, I've mentioned that I'm a community-minded person. I do have a lot of skill set and abilities to bring to the table. I know it is very difficult for independent candidates, but I want the public to really give this country a fighting chance, listen to all the candidates, and just choose wisely going forward in this election. Thank you so much for listening to me.
And thank you so much, Mitsy, for taking time out to share your heart and why you are running and the things that matters most to you, especially for these Virgin Islands, and all the best in this race. It's not an easy one, like you said, but the perseverance, and we admire your persistence, your determination to do what you feel your heart is leading you to do. So once again, all the best.
It's a pleasure.
I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.